Morning, Trinidad and Tobago. This is the ILP consultation here on Hot Like Pepper Radio 97.5 FM. And this morning we are going to be having the consultation, and you get to call in at the usual numbers of 636-7547, 636-7547, and 489-1067. My name is Nigel Mahabir, and in studio with me is Mr. Sonora Ramjit Singh, who is the alderman at the Kuva Tabaki Talpara Regional Corporation. And if you have your issues at national and local, you can call in with those for him this morning. We have a full packed show because, of course, my personal opinion out there for Brazil was that if they had played in green instead of playing in yellow, the outcome might have been 7-1 the other way. But we'll leave that up to most of the callers this morning. We'll hear what you have to say as regards to that. This is the ILP consultation, and we are sponsored, of course, by the Sunshine newspaper.
Tune in every Wednesday from 7 to 9 a.m. for ILP Speaks National Consultation with the ILP every Wednesday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
Good vibrations. The sunshine, always on my mind. Give me your sunshine newspapers. It's not reporting like any other. They giving me the facts, information to the max. Getting my news from all around, even worldwide, and what's going on in town. This weekly is hard to beat because the sunshine pushing some heat. Give me your sunshine, it always on my mind.
Get the facts, get the sunshine.
And we're back. And good morning, Sister Sonora Ramjit Singh. How are you this morning?
Hi, good morning, Nigel. Good morning to all listeners on U97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper Radio. Good morning to Kenrick. Good morning to Rosanna Rampazating and family and the whole U97.5 family. I'm Nigel. Good morning to you as well. It's always a pleasure to see you here with us on a Wednesday morning as we have the ILP National Consultation.
Well, I mean, we are definitely here to hear the views of the people and certainly start the way forward. I wanted to talk about how Brazil should have been wearing green yesterday, but I mean, the issue also came up with my friend yesterday after the match is that we qualified as a nation in 2006 to go to the World Cup in Germany. And a lot of people packed up their things and went off there and things. But I think one person who did not go and attend the matches was the then Prime Minister, Mr. Patrick Manning. I mean, he was Prime Minister and whatnot, and we had qualified. And he didn't go off to what might have been, I hate to say it, a once-in-a-lifetime experience to see Trinidad and Tobago play at a World Cup level. But I mean, I see our Prime Minister has gone to support, I think she might come back and say she was supporting Germany, but I hear otherwise. She might have. I understand she was to support Brazil.
Well, Nigel, you know, I was listening to the comments of callers as we were coming up, as I was coming up in the car this morning. I have my own thoughts on it as well. I do believe, though, that the timing is for her to make this personal vacation, if you want to call it that. Albeit that she promised her grandson she would take him to a World Cup final match in Brazil. My views at the timing for her to do that was bad. Right? I listened. Hopefully we'll get more into it as we go down into the in the course of our 2-hour program this morning. Hopefully our callers will call in and we can have a nice lively discussion on that matter. Another thing, Nigel, that's really been a really forefront issue in the last couple of days has been this whole thing that's going on with the immigration and the passport office, right? And that is a very, very deep issue. It is a very deep issue, and it goes beyond who you support politically. And I don't know how many people. I know that a couple of people I listened to as callers this morning were getting into the meat of the issue. But I think some people, for whatever reasons, probably because of the government is a particular political party, what have you, they feel that it's a trivial issue. So maybe, I hope that we could go into that issue sometime during the course of the morning as well. Before we go further, just to let you know that, today is Wednesday, of course, and your Sunshine newspaper hits the newsstands today. It's available. And there are lots and lots of very interesting stories in there. We have Jack Warner sues the Express over 10 libelous articles written by Kamini Maraj. And only under Kamala's UNC-led government, something like this could have been allowed to happen. SIS, the UNC's blue-eyed contractor, goes from bankruptcy in 2010 to $2 billion solvency in 2014. Thanks to the UNC and good luck to taxpayers. The life sport program is now being renamed by the general public as the Debt Life Project. In other related news, the life sport program may have been designed as a voting bank to assist the UNC-led government in the general elections before criminal elements started to call the shots. Bad governance is what this country is getting under the PP government. Imagine TNT's food bill is now topping billions of dollars. Now, thanks to Sunshine, you can get all your legal queries answered every week in your favorite weekly. Just Ask Rika is a brand new column just for you, our loyal Sunshine readers. And Jack Warner continues to show his charitable hand as he makes a substantial contribution to students at the Mono Road Government Primary School. Get the details of this heartwarming story that you'll love to read. More news again, also top legal luminaries declare that Warner is a victim of political injustice. Remember to get more in Sunshine. So much more. Get your copies now.
And there's additional sports sections and health sections there with all the information for you, every week. I mean, if you want to hear what's the latest in sports and latest in your health news, they have a full 2-page dedicated to the health of your personal body, herbs and natural healing, and what foods to and to not eat. So, I mean, it's on your Sunshine, $3 at your newsstand.
And Nigel, don't forget, you can go online at www.sunshine-tt.com. www.sunshine-tt.com, and you can get the online version. Of course, it asks you to subscribe, right? And when you subscribe, you're going to get news updates. They're working on something where you don't have to go looking for the stories are going to come looking for you, right? So having said all of that, we're going to remind our listeners, the phone lines are 636-7547, 489-1067. Nigel, let's talk a little bit about this immigration issue.
And the offices on Frederick Street, which apparently, according to Mr. Watson Duke, is not up to occupational safety, health and safety code. So under the OSHA Act, he says the employees need not or should not be occupying those facilities. Now, he said there's odors and there's whatnot and whatnot, but I mean, I haven't seen pictures or had actually testimony, or I haven't heard word from an employee themselves. But according to him, he said the place is not fit for human habitation, and he has directed his people not to turn out to work.
Nigel, I was looking at this issue yesterday, and I decided to go back into the newspaper archives. I pulled up something from the Newsday, Monday, May 12, 2014. That's just the other day, a couple of weeks ago, where Duke vows shutdown. Public Services Association President Watson Duke has cautioned that 2 government departments will be closed for a week if there is no meaningful consultation on health and safety issues. Speaking with Newsday yesterday, Duke reported that about 5,000 employees at various departments were being affected by health and safety issues at their respective workplaces, and more than 2,500 have come forward with serious health complaints. These complaints, which employees believe to be linked to their work environment, include growths in pupils, I assume that's pupil of the eye, restlessness, runny eyes, serious skin rashes, as well as lung and breathing problems. Duke said management, which in this case is the government, has been taking the issues for a joke and claiming that there is no correlation between the building and employees' illnesses. He reported that a number of government offices have been closed due to the union's effort to improve working conditions for members. And here are some of the offices. Central Statistical Office at Brian Lara Promenade, Port of Spain. Immigration Office and Tenders Board Committee at Moonan Building, Frederick Street. National Insurance Board on Abercrombie Street, Port of Spain, Arima and Tunapuna. 75% closed they had next to Tunapuna. Board of Inland Revenue at Independence Square, San Fernando. Head Office of Division of Health and Social Services, The following departments are on half-day work schedules: Ministry of Education Head Office, Ministry of Education, Finance and Accounts Department and Pay Branch, Licensing Office, ARIMA Board of Inland Revenue, and Social Services at Independence Avenue, San Fernando. Also affected by the action are the Board of Inland Revenue, District Revenue VAT offices in Port of Spain, Ministry of Education, London Street, Ministry of Education, Student Support Services at Pembroke Street, Chaguanas Magistrates Court, Board of Inland Revenue in Chaguanas, Elections and Boundaries Commission in Chaguanas, and Ministry of Works in Chaguanas. He said the union has been trying to work with the state in bringing a resolution, but the state does not seem to be willing to come to the table with a serious resolution and is instead coming with half-picked ducks and half-baked ideas. He noted that the union is calling on the state to provide from the Occupational Safety and Health Agency a statement that there is full compliance with the law, a fire certificate, indoor air quality test, town and country planning approval, and a certificate from electrical inspector showing that they can handle electrical demand. Yeah, there's a type of thing there. The electrical demand being placed on the system. He pointed out that late last month at the Division of Health and Social Services and the Agriculture Food Processing Unit at Glen Road, Scarborough, Tobago, all the computers caught fire like firecrackers. He said some of the buildings were 150 years old and all the state was doing was painting them. He said these problems have existed since he took office in 2009. But promises to move into new buildings were not fulfilled. He noted that now in 2014 they are looking for real and permanent change. And the story goes on, it doesn't really say much more in terms of the information I'm looking for.
So now what's the date on that article?
This is May the 12th.
The May the 12th.
May the 12th. And Duke is saying, Mr. Duke is saying,
it's almost July the 12th.
Mr. Duke is saying that discussions had been going on for a long time and they seem to be getting nowhere. He said that about 5,000 employees at various departments are being affected by health and safety issues. And more than 2,500 have come forward with serious health complaints. He talks about people having growth in the pupils of their eyes, restlessness, runny eyes, serious skin rashes, as well as lung and breathing problems. And then he lists out now Central Statistical Office, a number of places, Immigration, Tenders Board Committee, National Insurance Board, Board of Inland Revenue, Office of Division of Health and Social Services. He goes on, Ministry of Education, various other offices under Ministry of Education, Licensing, BIR, Social Services, VAT, District Revenue Offices, and it goes on and on, Ministry of Works, Chaguanas, what have you. Now, Nigel, I don't know what Mr. Duke is up to. I don't know what game Mr. Duke is playing. I don't think anybody knows what game Mr. Duke is playing. Because one minute, Mr. Duke is there singing like a choir boy for the government. Right? Roughing up and cussing up all his fellow trade union colleagues.
Right.
He's not in unison with them at all.
Right. He's not even on the joint trade union movement.
Right.
He's not on JTAM.
So that is his position. He doesn't want anything to do with certain people. He doesn't want to deal with certain issues.
Right.
And when those other issues are raised, he speaks against those workers. Now he finds himself. Well, I don't think he has a problem apparently fighting it alone if that is what he's doing. Right? I think it is right if he doesn't want to associate with this one, he doesn't want to associate with that one. He has his reasons. Right? But now you have this litany of issues. And like I say, this is from May the 12th. And I hear a lot of people, not all thankfully, because there were a lot of callers I thought were really on the ball this morning. As I said, I was this thing coming up. There are a lot of callers who are saying, listen, you have to get at the root of this matter. What is the real problem? What is the real problem here? Is there a problem? Are the immigration workers justified in any way in taking the position that they're taking? Because it's so easy to crowd Mr. Duke's own politics with these other issues. No. A couple months ago, someone from the customs division called me. And they called me on another matter, but it just happened that at that time, people will recall that the district revenue offices and the VAT offices and Board of Inland Revenue and so on, apparently in that phase of the shutdown that Mr. Duke described in May, that phase of the shutdown was going on. So I asked the person, I said, listen, I wanted to find out what was really going on with this issue, this shutdown thing. What really going on there? Do you have real issues or you don't have issues? And the person told me that there were a number of issues, health and safety issues, and some of them involved pigeons infesting one of the buildings in particular, and people would be sitting down working downstairs, and you have pigeons flying up on top, droppings coming down, you're seeing specks of white flakes in the air. They mentioned to me that there was one particular department where there was a particular desk, and they said that everybody who put to sit at that desk has died. And what had happened, I said, but you're joking. You know, the person said, they said that particular desk apparently was in the line of a particular air duct.
Okay.
And what happened is that persons who seem, let me finish.
No, but when you say died, this is a public service.
Died. 3 people died in succession of taking on that desk. And what they were saying, and I'm selling it as I was given it, right? What they said is that persons who seemed, and I'm very careful, I'm saying seemed very healthy and normal, right, would be assigned to that desk. And within a matter of months, that person developed some serious respiratory ailments, and all of a sudden, they just get sick and die. And these things happen. And somebody else would be assigned to the desk. And apparently, that second person who seemed healthy also got sick to the extent that they died. And it happened with a third person up until that time.
So I suppose my stupid question would be now, is there a 4th person currently working at that desk?
Well, I don't know, because I haven't spoken to that particular contact since that conversation.
Right.
And that person is not working in that department anymore, because they had originally called me because they felt they were sent home, their contracts were terminated, and they felt it was unjust. They felt that it didn't make sense, because they were performing a service and they did not see that anything was put in place to keep that the work, in other words, getting done. Mm-hmm. So they were trying to figure out, well, why were we fired and what have you. So they called, and I did intervene. And in the whole process, something seems to have been, working out for not just that person, but the group of affected employees. The government is taking a second look at that whole scenario. But coming back to the original thing, Nigel, we look at sometimes when we go to government offices, we look at the conditions in which people are working. And you have to ask yourself if you would work in that condition. Now, in addition to that, Nigel, I also pulled a newspaper article that I saw a couple months ago, again, May the 10th. Mm-hmm. All right? Over 13,000 vacancies in the public service. This is the Express of May 10, 2014. Over 13,000 vacancies exist in the public service, and they need to be filled. Minister of Public Administration, Caroline Sipasad Beecham, made a disclosure in Parliament in Port of Spain while speaking to a question by Member of Parliament for Labrie, Fitzgerald Jeffrey, Friday evening. And it goes on. Now, Nigel, if you have a public service that is so short-staffed, they're short-staffed by 13,709 persons on the permanent establishment. And there are also 5,863 contract positions that are vacant. Is it fair? Is it fair to go out on, full blast, broad brush, to go out and just criticize and say, public servants, lazy and they don't work and they do this and they do that?
Well, of course. Well, I mean, I'm hearing 13,000 vacancies. Now, I know 17,000 children write common entrance. That's almost a year's workforce. I mean, when you add it to the contract, how many was the contract workers? I mean,
Well, 5,863.
so roughly 18,000 vacancies are available within the government services, and I mean, that's a year's workforce.
Now here it is. The number of permanent employees in the public service as of December 31st, 2013 was 16,843. So that means, Nigel, that the public service itself is down to about half the strength.
But no, less
than half.
49%, you could say at least, if not 48. If you do your arithmetic, so there's 52%. I mean, we could double the public service tomorrow if they advertise all the positions.
Right? So you have that scenario. Then, as I say, if we try to, if we can, not me and you, but people in general out there, listeners, can we separate whatever Mr. Duke's personal political agenda may be, if he has one? Let's try and separate that from the plight of the workers. Because if at the end of the day, these claims about health and safety turn out to be bogus, then Mr. Duke doesn't have a leg to stand on, neither does the workers. But if the complaints are real, if the situation is as bad as it is being described, then we have a very serious problem. Because if you, Nigel, are seeing dust and you're seeing pigeon droppings and whatever else flying in the air, are you going to go and sit down by a desk to breathe in that? To do work for anybody, whether any public service or private service?
Of course not. No.
Public service or private enterprise?
Nobody's going to work under those conditions. I mean, as much as you want. I mean, certainly not. They passed the OSHA Act, and I mean, someone needs to enforce it. But I mean, if we've come to this point now that, I mean, you know, Watson Duke has to shut down, and he's chosen a good department to shut down, the passport office. It seems to be it's getting the headlines he wanted.
You see, the thing is, people are reeling now. People are reeling right now because passport office is affecting them. There are a lot of people, we saw them on the news a couple of nights in a row, lined up outside there. They want to travel. They need to travel. Their business depends on it. Right?
Right.
And suddenly it becomes personal to them. So now they're starting to speak out. And I saw Catherine Kumar from the Chamber of Commerce.
Right, yes.
Right? I saw her speaking out about it. She was down there among the ordinary citizens. Right? She was down there. She went to the passport office, spent the whole day in the hot sun. And in the evening, did not get through, and she was quarreling, and she was talking about how she stands to lose a lot of personal money because she had some trip to go on.
A fixed date of travel.
With fixed dates and what have you and so on, and she needs to get a passport, and if she doesn't get it, she can't travel, and if she can't travel, she's going to lose her money.
That's right, yeah.
I saw the president of the Car Dealers Association also in the news story talking about how, you know, his members are starting to complain because they have overseas business that they need to transact and they can't get a passport in order to travel. Right? And I'm assuming as well that you have ordinary citizens who would like to take their grandchildren to Brazil for the World Cup. or to go to Grenada for a weekend and they can't do it. Do you have students? You have students, especially those who are on scholarships and so on, who need to travel and they need their documents ready. You have people who are residing abroad and working abroad, Nigel, who need their documents, and they usually would end up taking time away from work, utilizing their vacation time to come to Trinidad, and some of them are here and they can't get a passport to go back. Some of them may end up having no choice but to go back with the passport, and if the passport expires while they're over there, they may be in a quandary as to how to travel. You have ordinary people, business being affected. You have people who have to travel for health reasons.
Well,
and it's suddenly, and I'm telling you that from what Tim Duke said, this had been going on for a while, and as of May, all around that time, other departments were being shut down.
Yeah, but you see, it wasn't important to talk to Watson Duke back in May. It wasn't important to hear the issues back then.
But I want to know if people are thinking along the lines of, but you know something, if the people who work in the Ministry of Finance who were affected, if they are looking on at what's going on in immigration, and if the people in the Ministry of Education, for example, whether or not they need a passport, if they are looking at what's going on with their colleagues in immigration and saying, well, wait a minute, you know, I have the same problem too. And are people going to take me seriously when I start to talk about my problem? Or do I just have to sit down here and inhale this thing and die?
Well, I mean, obviously, the only reason is getting any attention. Because, I mean, if the issue started as far back as May 10th, May 12th is the articles you're reading here in the studio, I mean, then they didn't seem to really bother or seek interest until it affected the general public and the traveling public. And they seemed they went to court to get a court order to get people back to work. And I mean, under the working conditions, if anything close to working conditions described by Watson Duke is it, then the court order obviously is null and void. I mean, you can't enforce people to go back into a dangerous environment.
Well, as I'm sure Watson Duke, Nigel, is thinking very carefully about how he makes his move and what are the moves he makes. I want to assume that Watson Duke is smart enough to know that if he's going to go on a campaign, he's not going to go on one that can easily be shut down. And maybe in his view, the health and safety issue is a loophole. Now, at the same time, because I listened to some excerpts read from Kerrick this morning. Kerrick was saying that government officials, persons on the government side, saying when they go to meet with Watson Duke only looking for loopholes. Right? But, so therefore, I'm asking if there are any immigration officers out there, if anybody in finance and all those other divisions and anywhere else in the public service. Call and tell us what are the working conditions that you all are working under. Do you all have health and safety concerns? Is this a real issue? Or is this some bogus issue? Or is it another issue that they're just not talking about right now? So 636-7547-489-1067. And in the midst of that, Nigel, while we wait for the phone to ring, in the midst of that, the Prime Minister ups and goes on a trip.
Well, I heard callers this morning saying she's entitled to her break as well. But my issue fundamentally is, I mean, why here and why now? All right, we've got a call. So, good morning, caller. Where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning. I'm calling from Mount Lambert.
Go ahead, Mount Lambert.
Some weeks ago, I heard a little whisper. I don't know how true it is. At first, with this closing down of the offices, the government did not very little. They seem not to be interested until it boiled down to this thing. But I heard that after all is said and done, there are some folks who are going to make some good money off of it. Refurbishing and places and lots of jobs and lots of money going to flow after. I think the whole thing is wholly orchestrated, because this president of the Public Service Commission is known to be a friend of the government. So that's it. I'm just looking on and waiting to see what's going to happen. Bye.
Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you very much, caller. You just opened my eyes to another dimension that I really had not given much thought to. And it makes sense what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense, because 1 minute this gentleman is cussing the government, the other minute he's hogging them up and defending them.
Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from? Go ahead.
That caller was so right, but I said that to Kenrick last week. I said it again this week. Watson Duke is playing a game with the people of Trinidad and Tobago. He is dancing, how I will say, there's a movie called Dancing with the World. He has been dancing with Minister Monilal. He was down in Minister Monilal's birthday party. You negotiating with somebody, again, you trying to work for the best interest of the workers, people, and you going and knocking glass and sipping champagne with the same people you have to negotiate with. What that tells you I mean, come on, man. Listen, I don't understand how people not waking up and seeing what it is that's happening. Watson Duke is playing a game, and the government is going along with the game. Because you can't tell me, I always thought an injunction was a serious thing, but it seemed not. As I said the other day, Watson Duke could be now named Steven Seagal. He is above the law. Because how could you get an injunction and you shut down office still? But this country is a joke. And our Prime Minister ride out of this country. I no wonder why what happened to Brazil. I want to warn all your streaming stay out of Brazil, so they go take it lightly after all what they see on Facebook. Boy, these people not easy. Stay out of Brazil, I warn all you. Have a good day.
Thank you and have a good day. Nigel, something seems to be going on with the phone line. We'll ask people to try 489-1067. You can keep trying 636-7547. However, we seem to be getting a scratch here. I don't know why. But Nigel, I was going to say about this whole thing, about the Prime Minister promising her grandson that she would take him to Brazil to see a football game. And, you know, the people are saying she's tired and she need a break and she's human too and she entitled to vacation and what have you, right? Nigel, if your family, your parents and your whole household, if everybody says, listen, next week we're going to go to Disney World. We say, okay, next week we're going to go to Disney World. Right? So we plan everything. Mm-hmm. We might have even bought the tickets. You all might have bought the tickets a couple of weeks back, a couple of months back. But as you come closer to your trip, suddenly the pipes in the house, the plumbing in the house, the lines start to burst and flood out everything. Flood out your carpets, flood out your floors, damage the walls, damage the electricals, right? Damaging the furniture, or the roof starts to leak to the extent where water is coming and ruining everything. Is the family just going to up and go and say, hey, what's going on? We going on vacation still?
Well, I wouldn't think so. I think that there'd certainly be some patchwork to be done, and then, you know, they sort out themselves. But I mean, you know, no, definitely not.
No, I don't think that somebody would just up and say, well, listen, you know what? Forget that. Let the water, whatever happens this time, I'm going on vacation. I don't think no responsible family would do that. Right?
But people would say, well, they have uncles and aunts and stuff to take care of that because the Prime Minister is not one person.
So who's taking care of things? Uncle Prakash?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know who's taking care of it.
Take the call.
Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from?
Good morning. I'm calling from Dabity.
Go ahead, Dabity.
I am too confused because what I recognize is that when I read what what Duke is saying, and with respect to the injunction that was filed, Watson Duke is making a totally different claim. Watson Duke is saying that he never strikes, never then goes slow. What he is dealing with is the OSHA Act. It's the health and safety. And when I read what the speaker and the other unions have to say, they are saying that they agree with workers who are dealing with this health and safety issue. And Watson Duke read out, I'm not a supporter of Watson Duke, but he read out clearly when issues like health and safety impact on a worker, the worker has the right to indicate that they're not going to work. So I am saying that there is something, because Watson Duke, as the caller indicated earlier, is a friend of this government. And I'm trying to get the little spin in it. Also, Watson Duke and the government also know that, like the PNM in a couple of years ago, when they went to build the beach high school, the PNM, for some one political reason, didn't occupy it. Now it has been occupied and nobody talks about it. What about the PNM building all those administrative buildings and complexes and no accommodation for the public servants? You know something? There's accommodation for the big ministers and stuff in those big buildings. Are you aware of that? The ministers in those ministries, the rest of their ministries are somewhere else. And the ministers' staff, they are comfortably out in the new government buildings. Are you aware of that?
Not completely, no.
Yes, wherever in the ministry, wherever there are ministries, where the government, where the ministers and his staff cannot be properly accommodated in those other ministries, they are properly housed in the new buildings constructed on the waterfront.
Okay.
That's the minister's staff. So that there is some challenge there. And I keep wondering, I'm saying, what is the game? Secondly, with the Prime Minister, I thought your analogy was very, very nice with respect to the clubbing and stuff. Because I asked myself, why is the Prime Minister continuously using I'm a grandmother? We didn't listen. We didn't employ a grandmother, you know. We employed the competencies of a Prime Minister has nothing to do. No, there's no criteria saying grandmother, grandson, nothing like that. There are things to do with the competencies and the ability to deal with the challenges. Have nothing with grandmother and grandfather. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chorus, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back while I try and take a look at that phone line.
It's You Talk, You Talk, You Talk. Provocative talk with a difference.
Sheikh Lisha Limited of number 44 Southern Main Road, Warrenville in Canoopia, the manufacturers and distributors of paper bags such as grease-proof paper, garbage and plastic bags. They also carry vermicelli, split piece powder and much, much more. Call them at 665-3336 or 672-3313. Visit them at number 44 Southern Main Road, Canoopia. Sheikh Lisha Limited now introduces their newest product, Sheikh Parch Vermicelli, the hassle-free and easy way to prepare your tasty sunwine dishes. Enjoy another great quality product from Sheikh Lisha Limited. Sheikh Lisha Limited, your one-stop shop for savings.
Are you building or renovating? Well then, head on down to Arme Hardware for all your building materials. Located at Derrick Road, Chase Village, Trinidad, and also in Providence, Guyana. You can call Arme Hardware on 760-7938. Fax Arme Hardware on 672-8557. Or you can send your email to arme@ymail.com. Arme Hardware for all your building materials. Located at Derrick Road, Chase Village, and also Providence, Guyana.
The sunshine, always on my mind. Give me your sunshine newspapers. They're not reporting like any other. They're giving me the facts, information to the max. Getting my news from all around, even worldwide, and what's going on in town. This degree is hard to beat, but the sunshine pushing some beats. Give me the sunshine, it's always on my mind.
Get the facts, get the sunshine.
But if you look at the current expenditure, then we can go further, because that is needed for transfers into the Ministry of Finance for construction projects under the idea of the Infrastructure Development Fund, which will be about $1.2 billion. It also deals with a very important item, Mr. Speaker, and as we were sitting, I was reminded of Mr. Panley's statement sometimes. When money bills came to the House, he would say, what does this have to do with the ordinary man? Is it you speak about the unemployment rates and you speak about foreign exchange and you speak of all these matters that are very theoretical? What does it have to do with the man down in Barco or the lady up in Diego Martin or in Laventine or in Toco or in Arena? You see, just what does it have to do with them? Will it help them?
In time of bereavement, let David Budu's Funeral Home Limited take care of all your needs. Operating out of 2551 High Street, Rio Claro, they specialize in complete cremation and burial. Available 24 hours daily, they offer a prompt, reliable and courteous service. With a modern refrigeration system, they also handle the shipping and receiving of bodies worldwide. An embalming service is also available. David Budu's Funeral Home Limited, serving all faiths and religion. Visit their office at 2551 High Street, Rio Claro, or call them for personal service at 644-2073 or 782-7237.
The sunshine, always on my mind. Give me your sunshine newspapers. They're not reporting like any other.
The Sunshine Weekly, keeping you in touch locally, regionally, and internationally. Committed to its readership and clientele. The Sunshine, a most timely intervention in these trying times of our nation. Get the facts. Get the Sunshine newspaper.
This weekly is hard to beat because the sunshine pushing some heat. Give me the sunshine, it's always on the mind.
Get the facts. Get the Sunshine.
Tune in every Wednesday, 7 to 9 a.m. National Consultation.
This is the National Consultation here on IFC 9 a.m. You can call in 1067. It seems to be getting a little problem. 1067. Mr. I'm just saying, the PSA, how do you actually justify occupational safe and handy? The Act indicates specifically what, and how do you determine, obviously it's a threat to safety and health, so who makes that determination? Has an OSHA officer been sent into the...
There is supposed to be any agency. And Washington Duke and the PSA are challenging the government. The government says that there are no occupational safety and health issues at these respective venues. Produce a certificate, right, or a statement showing compliance with the law from the Occupational Safety and Health Agency. And apparently, they don't seem to be able to get that. So Nigel, the thing is the Prime Minister's trip out of the country now justified at all? Is it justified? That's a valid question a lot of people are asking.
Well, I mean, her travel record, if it doesn't surpass...
Forget the whole travel record.
No, but...
For a second, forget the whole travel record.
Forget the travel
She's traveling now. She's traveling now. We don't know when she's coming back. Because I heard the news release when it was read on the air on one of the media houses. I heard when it was read, and they specifically mentioned she was going on so and so date, where she was going, why she was going, but it also did not. They made a point of saying the release did not say when she's coming back. So I don't know if because Brazil get 7-1 yesterday from Germany, I don't know if it means that she's coming back by weekend, or if it is she intends to stay for the finals, which is on Sunday. I don't know. Right? But that apart, your house is leaking. The pipes are bursting. The roof is leaking. Is that the time that you go on a vacation? I see the phone lighting up, Nigel. Let's see.
Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from South.
Go ahead, South.
Nigel and Kent.
So
I don't have a problem with the Prime Minister going on a vacation. I hope she enjoyed a few hours, a few days, as the case might be. I hope that the child she was supporting is the child that won. I hope that when she come back here, she will be invigorated, she come back new and able to take on the task ahead. I hope that her planning on vacation and the people she interact and meet with will help her, because she is helpless in this country now. And that is why you have so much active Prime Minister, because the load is too much. Her knees has become weak, the hill has become steep to climb, and the only thing is, when you're in a relationship with her as a father in a home, regardless of how much it's difficult to buy groceries, you don't give up the husbandship or the fathership of the home. You continue. But what I was saying, you talk about the roof and the water leaking and so on and so on. If you have children, there is no grocery in the home or groceries you running out. Children is sick. One child, you understand that the police is out for them on an allocation charge or something. Thing that is very crucial and very important, and I'm concerned. Would you say here what is going on? I will abandon the responsibility in the home. I need a rest. I need to go out and take some cool breeze. I need to go and see 22 people running behind a ball for an hour and a half. And yesterday when I called on this very station on the program, I was told that what I am mentioning is childish. I have no problem with that. Sometimes big men then become children and was seen in in the eyes of men and children. And if you love green motorcar color, anything pass in front of you, you will see green. And you can't help yourself because the third eye is looking and the two eyes in front is blank. I am saying that this country is very, very unstable. The people in this country need questions answered. The leadership problem in this country is we are not co-pilot right now, if I should put it that way. And I am very, very concerned. I'm very concerned about what is happening, and nobody is standing up, and nobody is raising their head, nobody is putting down their feet. And what is happening, we are in dreamland, and we don't know what tomorrow holds. But the way things is going now in this country, I believe we are about to hit a precipice at any moment in time. And those responsible, the bread is buttered both sides, the friends and families is taken care of, and anything could happen now. I am concerned about the younger ones, the helpless, the sick, the orphans, the waferers, those who are homeless and those who are jobless and those who don't know where the next meal coming from. I am concerned about people going to the hospital and as taxpayers, as a citizen of this country, why you cannot get bed to sleep or to lie down on, and you can get tablets from the hospital. They paint the buildings, to look nice instead of putting what is necessary in the building. And they come like a man on the market with a piece of apron in front of him with a chopper in his hand, but no meat on the shelf to sell. You understand? So I could go on. Thanks very much.
Well, Cor, I mean, the situation in the nation is quite grim for a number of people out there. But I mean, my fundamental thing with that is there are 13,000 jobs in the public service available. I mean, why aren't those positions being filled? There's 5,000 in contracts. What's going on there? Good morning, Connor. Where are you calling from?
Good morning from San Juan.
Go ahead, Sam.
My view is that no matter what she does from now until the election falls, it will be criticized. Right? What I want to say is that we right in our backyard. We are now taking our vacation and collecting taxpayers' money without doing nothing for the last 2 years. Just selling sick leave after sick leave after sick leave. Taking strolls into Port Spain to buy a shirt, and we are saying nothing about that. And our Prime Minister who is working hard, but no matter what she does from now until next time, it's going to be criticized. Thank you very much.
He's looking for the by-election in Saffron Louise.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
You see, that's the problem in Nigel. The problem is double standards. The problem is double standards. And one of the callers in 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock raised the point about whatever you're prepared to sanction today, whatever you're prepared to accept from a Prime Minister today, make sure that you're prepared to accept it in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years from somebody else.
Well, I was about to make the point that the track record of the travel of this Prime Minister, if not is on par, but may exceed the travel of the previous Prime Minister, which was a great criticism of it. But so now I see Mr. Kevin Johnson giving up. We're about a minute away from the news, so I'm going to take you out and we'll be right back after the news.
U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Radio is owned and operated by Anand and Ingrid Ramprasad Singh, directors of Upward Trend Entertainment Limited.
Something for everyone. 975 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
U97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper. Advertise with us at U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper. We have the largest loyal listenership in Trinidad and Tobago and online. Call now, 720-5858. That's 720-5858.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to the 8 o'clock news here on 97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper. We are broadcasting to you live from Couva in central Trinidad, the energy capital. I am Kenrick Juggernaut. A very good morning to you. 7 persons from the Carapo area, held by officers of the Criminal Gang Intelligence Unit on Monday, are to be quizzed for various crimes, including murder. Some of them are linked to the controversial live sport program, and it is understood that they are to be questioned about gang-related offenses. One of the persons detained is the brother of a man now under surveillance for the alleged role he played in the shooting death of state prosecutor Dana Sitahal. It is reported that the 7 have been placed at various police stations in Port of Spain and in Northeastern Division. An ex-convict who was released from prison in November last year was shot to death in Laventille yesterday. According to a police report, 27-year-old Joel Charles of Bullis Trace, Laventille, was liming not far from his home on Pashley Street, Laventille, when he was approached by a gunman who shot him several times about the body. Charles, it is reported, died on the spot. Relatives at the crime scene described Charles, one of 5 children, as a generally quiet person. However, police say Charles was known to them as he had several run-ins with the law, but relatives said this was a long time ago. He was released from prison in November last year after serving time for robbery. Investigations into that matter are continuing. An execution-style killing was how a pathologist, Dr. Valery Alexandrov, described the murder of 26-year-old Keston Redhead in Malabar, Arima early yesterday morning. Redhead, a student at Costat, it is reported, had witnessed the murder of his grandfather 4 years ago, and relatives believe his killing was linked to that incident. According to a police report, Redhead was standing at the corner of Kunkun Road, Malabar, at about 6 a.m. awaiting transport for work when he was approached by a gunman who shot him several times. Police responded to reports of gunshots in the area and discovered the bleeding man on the road. Police, it is said, rushed him to the Arima District Hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. These latest killings have now pushed the murder toll to 224 for the year thus far. You are with news here on 97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper. A suspended police constable from Tobago of the police service yesterday committed suicide at a bar in Chase Village. According to police reports, 31-year-old Christopher Madera was at a bar in Chase Village with his brother when he suddenly collapsed. Police originally believed Madera's death was of natural causes, but an autopsy done at the Forensic Sciences Center in St. James yesterday revealed that he committed suicide. Those are some of the stories making the news to 8 o'clock here on 97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper. Let's see what's happening in the weather picture for today. Well, the Met Office has informed that Trinidad and Tobago will be predominantly hazy, cloudy and breezy today. There's a possibility of some mild showers in a few confined localities. Seas are normal, waves up to 2 meters in open waters, 1 meter in sheltered areas. The maximum temperature for today is 32 degrees Celsius, the minimum 23 degrees Celsius, and sunset at 31 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. That's a look at the weather report and, of course, news to 8 o'clock on 97.5. I am Kenrick Juggernaut, reminding you that we've got another newscast coming up at 12 noon. And, of course, you can look forward to the sports report which I will present to you at 10 o'clock this morning. Stay with us here as we continue with the ILP public consultation with Nigel Mahabir and Sunil Ramjit Singh.
Rio Claro Construction Company Limited of 64 Rivulet Road, Brechin Castle in California. Specialists in plant equipment installation, industrial maintenance, general construction service, general civil work, equipment rentals, as well as expert designing and with their head office in the heart of the Point Lisas industrial estate. They are also suppliers of fully automated greenhouses. For further information, call 679-6521, 679-7500, or visit their website rccl@tstt.net.tt. Rio Claro Construction Company Limited of 64 Rivulet Road, Brechin Castle in California, for quality and reliable service in the construction sector.
Sheikh Lisha Limited of number 44 Southern Main Road, Warrenville in Canoopia, the manufacturers and distributors of paper bags, such as grease-proof paper, garbage and plastic bags. They also carry vermicelli, split piece powder, and much, much more. Call them at 665-3336 or 672-3313. Visit them at number 44 Southern Main Road, Canoopia. Sheikh Lisha Limited now introduces their newest product, Shake Punch Vermicelli, the hassle-free and easy way to prepare your tasty sunwine dishes. Enjoy another great quality product from Sheikh Lisha Limited. Sheikh Lisha Limited, your one-stop shop for savings.
Serving its customers for over 60 years, Ratan Singh's Tire Service of Main Road, Montrose, Chaguanas. They offer services such as tire vulcanizing, tire retreading, and computerized wheel balancing. Ratan Singh's Tire Service offers quality and reliable service with the most experienced and knowledgeable technicians. Inquire about their special prices on popular brands on new and used tires. Ratan Singh's Tire Service of Main Road, Montrose, Chaguanas. Pay them a visit or give them a call at 665-7467 or 665-RIMS. Ratan Singh's Tire Service, leaders in the tire industry.
The sunshine, always on my mind. Give me a sunshine newspapers. It's not reporting like any other.
The Sunshine Weekly, keeping you in touch locally, regionally and internationally. Committed to its readership and clientele. The Sunshine, a most timely intervention in these trying times of our nation. Get the facts, get the Sunshine newspaper.
This weekly is hard to beat because the sunshine pushing some heat. Give me a sunshine, it's always on my mind.
Get the facts, get the Sunshine.
Tune in every Wednesday from 7 to 9 a.m. for ILP Speaks National Consultation with the ILP every Wednesday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper.
It was magnificent.
The sunshine, always on my mind. Give me a sunshine newspaper.
The Sunshine newspaper is out in its 60th issue. That's 60. With the headlines, Jack Warner sues the Express over 10 libelous articles written by Kamini Miraj, only in your Sunshine newspaper. And only under the Kamala Prasad Bisasa UNC-led government something like this could have happened. To allow SIS, the UNC's blue-eye contractor, going from bankruptcy in 2010 to $2 billion solvency in 2014, thanks to the UNC. Tough luck to taxpayers. Also, the Life Sports program has been renamed by the general public as the Debt Life Project. And in other related news, the Life Sport program may have been designed as a voting bank to assist the UNC-led government in general elections before the criminal element started to call the shots. Bad governance is what this country is getting under the PP government. Imagine TNT food bill now topping billions of dollars. But read about it in your Sunshine newspaper. What is going on with the quick-talking Minister of Agriculture? Minister of Food Production, and what's he doing about the alarming crisis while farmers are crying long tears? Also in the Sunshine, You can get your legal queries answered every week by your favorite Just Ask Rika, a brand new column brought out for you, the Sunshine Reader. In other headlines, Jack Warner continues to show his charitable hand as he makes a substantial contribution to students of the Monroe Road Government Primary School. Get the details in your Sunshine newspaper. And top legal luminaries declare Warner a victim of political injustice, along with all the sports and health news in the back pages of the Sunshine newspaper. $3 at your local newsstand. And if you can't, don't worry, you can get it online at www.sunshine-tt.com. All for you available. This is the ILP National Consultation Wednesday here on Hot Like Pepper Radio. And with me in studio is Mr. Sunil Ramjit Singh, who is the alderman for the ILP in the Cuba Taliki Talpara Regional Corporation. Welcome back, Sunil.
Nigel, I also want to extend a good morning to my fellow ILP alderman in Cuba Taliki Power Regional Corporation, Alderman Mahabir who works extremely hard as an alderman. He's a retired county superintendent, and he has a wealth of knowledge that he brings to the council whenever we do have meetings and so on. And well, so
before you go on, I want to say, if you feel the need to go to Brazil to see football, you could always send the other alderman in next week Wednesday.
Well, no, I mean football finishes
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah. But if you feel the need to go out, and have a vacation and a break, I mean, no problem. Take your grandson somewhere.
Well, I signed on for this position as an alderman. When I took my oath of office, I know what I was getting into. It meant that you had to make certain sacrifices, right? So that said, I don't foresee myself going on a vacation before the 3 years of my tenure as an alderman concludes. But
well, that's an interesting point. What is the actual official policy? Because I know Parliament goes on break, I think, sometime soon in July or August for about 6 or 8 weeks. What is the official policy for vacation for elected officials in is there one, or is it just
it's a matter? Remember, listen, you have to remember that the regional corporation, you will have workers who are working month to month, day to day, and so on, right? And in order for the work, the wages and so on, and the program of works and what have you, in order for those things to be effective, in other words, for you to be able to pay them, for example, their wages and to approve the work that they are supposed to undertake in the upcoming month or what have you, right? It will require a council meeting, so therefore, once there's work to be done and a meeting needs to be called, you have to be available, So I don't think it's really an official vacation and days off and that kind of thing as such. We have a caller there, Shirley?
Yeah.
Is it still on or we must call? Let's take it now.
Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from?
Good morning. What is happening is, we are all supposed to be concerned about the well-being and safety of our Prime Minister. I remember on a previous trip, he took a aide, a nurse, a sister to look after her meals and so on to ensure okay. And I am not too sure if this happened this time. And I am not too sure when she will be eating, she will be handling her meals and so on, because the sister, I do not know if she went with her. And I am concerned because we would like our Prime Minister's safety to be ensured and for she to come back to run the affairs of our beautiful country once again. I'm just mentioning this, that I do not know, we didn't hear about anybody going with her and so on and so on. If not, inconsistency is lacking. Thank you very much.
Well, she also said this was a private trip, so I mean, but bringing up the question...
But caller, a very valid point, and I will tell you, stick a pin on that. Keep it somewhere safe, keep that point somewhere safe at the back of your mind. As other issues continue to unfold, and this one as well, continue to unfold in the upcoming weeks and months, right? And that is our point on target, and I know where you're going with it. And I too have taken note of it. And when the time is appropriate and all the information is in, we can talk about that.
Well, I was going to make the indication that if she's incapable of caring for herself, then what status does the grandson have in that? I mean, who's responsible for the grandson? Because if you're not capable of dealing for yourself, you certainly can't be taking other people on the trip that is a minor who obviously would need some care and whatnot as well. But I mean, I suppose that's a non-issue. That's an issue for another time.
That's an issue for another time. But the real issue, Nigel, let me tell you what the real issue is with this whole thing, with this whole immigration issue. Well, one of the real issues, because several have been brought forward. It is the responsibility of the government to ensure that the services that citizens require, especially the essential services, that those offices and so on are functional, that people have access to a reliable service, at least a service that performs at an acceptable level. And therefore my question really is, what is the government doing about the situation? Now granted, there's an article somewhere here published July 8, 2014, right? In the Express, Duke and Griffith reach a compromise. Now Duke and Griffith reach a compromise, perhaps, and it's some short-term measures, not no long-term measures, some short-term measures, right? And they're talking here about the immigration office was open until 3 p.m. yesterday, and about 50 people received their passports, and however the office was not functioning at full capacity, right? So if they have come to some kind of compromise and so on for the short term and what have you, how first of all, Nigel, if they're going to be looking after the people with urgent travel arrangements and whose business is in jeopardy, or who have health issues and so on, or job-related travel and what have you, how are you going to filter and choose and pick and choose who you are going to let in the door in that 50 and who you're going to exclude? Right? That's my first question. How are you going to do that? But the second question really is, how are you fixing the overall system in its entirety? Because there is a serious, by now, there is a serious backlog of people who need passports. And under normal circumstances, it used to take you sometimes like about a week or so. It varied, it varied at times. It varied. Sometimes you get your passport really quick, sometimes it take really long. Then you had problems, people getting their appointments and what have you. But by now, with that whole system that used to be there, having been thrown out of sync, how are you going to pick up the backlog now? August vacation is coming up. A lot of families are going to want to travel. A lot of people are going to want to travel. Young people right now who can't travel. You have students who will be coming out of who will be coming out of A levels and so on, right? And because they'll be getting results soon. Not so, Nigel?
Well, I mean, the situation. So now, hold on a second. You said that the government is responsible for good services, and that's why
the government is responsible for providing the environment and the circumstances for the service to run properly. And my question is, if today tomorrow, Watson Duke decides that he's not going to be a thorn in the side of the government, how long is it going to take people to get their passports?
No, but let's hold on to that issue for a second. I call and I don't get an ambulance coming to my home. Or I call for the police and the police don't come to my home. Now that affects one person, and Watson Duke will not stand on the platform or stand in front of my house and bring that issue to the light. What am I supposed to do about that issue? Apparently, the passport issue is more important than maybe, say, ambulance service or police service coming in terms of an emergency. Because this country doesn't have, I think, greatly efficient policing and greatly efficient ambulance service. The fire department, I think...
So maybe the lady is right. Maybe the lady called a while ago, maybe she's right. That this is really an orchestrated attempt to justify some refurbishment work so that certain contractors will benefit. And maybe that's what this really is about.
Well,
if it's not a question of the holistic issue of the working conditions of our people, and let me make it clear, ILP's position is that citizens must be able to access, within reason, must be able to access services that can only be provided by the government and government offices, and that these departments should run with a certain level of efficiency, both in terms of the efficiency of the service, but also in terms of the return on expenditure. But at the same time, the workers must benefit from reasonable salaries, a safe and reasonably comfortable work environment. And that goes to terms and conditions.
Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from?
I'm just saying.
Hi, good morning.
How you doing, my brother? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Listen, I have a real problem. Two problems, I don't want to divulge your topic, but it's important to highlight issues pertaining to MPs. So I have been trying to reach the land state agency minister. He said he's not
State land, the Minister for State land.
Pardon?
The Minister for State land, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
I think that's Minister Jerome Simongal.
He's not taking no calls from the public.
Uh-huh.
He is not entertaining no meetings. Because he's very close to the Prime Minister, I assume. So we have no authority to speak with him in related to issues, burning issues. That's one. The second thing, Mayor Shagonas, he said he will try his best, and he will try his best, and he's keep on saying that's right thing. Now, in the end of the day, I thinking about setting a lawsuit against them for damages and inconvenience. Now, it might cause some hardship to me, but in the end of the day, I think I need to get some satisfaction as well. I have to get some satisfaction. I can't live with this kind of thing anymore. If we come in the rain coming, I can't get this drain prepared. Just dump the drain, leave it, and go on, you know. There's not a matter of I look at the create mischief. No, I am just asking. I sit and I wait and I ask him and nobody helping. So in the end of the day, the government in power, right? They say we are UNC, and they say we are UNC there, and the councillor here say we are UNC, so you're not helping us. In the end of the day, the councillors are paying them, but who's in government? Right?
Right.
They send somebody from Stephen Kenny's office to do a survey in the area. They say they have no money. They have to pass it on the Ministry of Works and Transport. And transport is saying they have no money. But they're giving the friends of them contract in here to build box train and big train and leave the place hang up and leaving people like us who lives in a community to suffer. So that cannot be right.
All right. Well, what I will do, I will call you when we come off the air.
You have my cell number.
Yeah, it's the same number that you always had, that you never changed, right?
Give me your cell number today. I want to talk with you in a private capacity.
All right, no problem. 377.
Right?
Yeah, 377-2379.
No, I can't hear. I'm driving.
Oh, okay. I have your number.
You have my number in your phone right now. I know that.
Yeah. So I'll call you. Thank you very much. Right. But you know, the thing is, Nigel, if it is that the PNM councillor is powerless to get access to bringing services to the people, then one would logically assume or conclude that is the PP side of administration that would have brought this into fruition. Well, so therefore, who started should finish it.
It seems to indicate that nobody seems to care about
my point is that somebody started it, and whoever had the authority to start it is the one with the authority to finish it. And if the People's Partnership members are telling the citizen that when the work start is the PP. When things go wrong, blame the PNM. Is that what they're telling people?
Well, I mean, they always want to use that excuse, certainly when they're in opposition, that they have no money and they don't have access to the money, they don't have access to the funds. Suddenly now they're in government and they still don't have access to the money, they still don't have access to the funds. And
so Nigel, again, we're asking if there's anybody there, an immigration officer in particular, who is familiar with the work conditions at these buildings, or any other public servant. Call us and tell us about the work conditions. In terms of occupational safety and health, are there really issues? Because, Nigel, if there are issues, which I know that there are, then my view is that where the issues are real, you have to stand up with these workers. You have to stand up with these workers for a healthy, safe working environment. And if it is, as some callers are suggesting, that Mr. Watson Duke is using these people, these workers' plight, for some other agenda, you can deal with that separately from the fact that workers need to be kept and afforded a comfortable and safe working environment.
But I mean, I certainly don't think Watson Duke is the kind of person to go out there and be strong and wrong. I say that for certain other politicians, but certainly he can't be standing up on thin ice there, expecting to get away with it and not get wet. He must have issues within the system thing. And if he and Griffith came to some sort of compromise and some kind of work understanding, then obviously later on down the line, all the issues should be dealt with.
So is it an admission? Is it an admission that things are there that need to be fixed? I think it is. I think that's a fact.
Well, I think, well, I mean, certainly your working conditions, I mean, have to meet the basic minimum, because the OSHA Act was passed, I think it was under Mr. Pandey's administration.
Yeah.
And whatever those conditions were, are, or currently stated to be, you must bring them up to the minimum. And I mean, if government workers, public servants are working under the minimum operational safety conditions, then obviously, I mean, how could you then go out to the private sector and regulate it? Because the standard of basics is that if your government is in violation of the law, you can't then go out and tell me that the private sector, should be held liable under the basics of the law, because, I mean, you are the government and you pass the law and you're supposed to make sure all your buildings and things are up to spec. I mean,
that's another thing, Nigel. Well, how many government buildings, how many government offices, are situated in buildings owned by people with political connections?
Well, if we start that list, we might run out of time.
How many? So you have people who are renting substandard buildings and in violation of their contracts with the state for millions of dollars a month and sometimes $1 million a year. They're renting their property. And you are housing public officers inside of there?
Well, I mean, there's no shame to that. I mean, that seems to be the word of the day. Everyone seems to be going down that road. You could rent what you want when you want it, when you don't. I think it's somewhere down Woodbrook, St. Clair, there's an empty building. They were making a big issue about that the lease was signed. Let's move the entire passport office down there. I have no problem with that. If that must be a building that's up to spec. And put all of them in there, we go run the passport office out of there while they fix the one on Frederick Street.
But a lot of these buildings, Nigel, when you see a building go up, do you know that the inside of the building is empty? It does not have a lot of the necessary fixtures and furnishings. You know that?
Well, I don't know specifically, which buildings you might be talking about.
There are a lot of buildings. There are a lot of buildings that have been built. Right? For example, the government campus buildings. Right? I for the life of me, I can't remember off the top of my head how much was their amount advertised that or stated that they needed to outfit that building. $1 billion and something spent, to construct the building, and you need hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Hundreds of millions of dollars. They are saying it's going to take to furnish the buildings.
That is the building you're talking about is behind
that's on Richmond Street.
Richmond Street.
Government campus building, yeah.
Behind used to be Holiday and used to be Crown Plaza.
So, in the vicinity of there, yeah.
Well, I mean, and of course the Prime Minister says how great Radisson it was for Radisson to come, but I know it's the same building, the same owner, the same operator. They just got a new franchise. But I mean, coming back to, I know construction of a building is one thing, and there's an additional 50%. I mean, 50% is the actual construction of the building, and the other 50% is electrical, water, gypsum, ceiling, carpeting, and everything else. Could double your costs. Basically, of best building a concrete structure.
Let me read it for you. It seems to be $2.4 billion to complete government campus plaza. More than $2 billion has been allocated to complete the 5-building government campus plaza, detailed in both the 2013 and 2014 State Enterprise Investment Program folders. Construction and outfit of almost decade-old buildings carried a hefty price of $2.4 billion. $2.4 billion. $2.4 billion.
All right, let's take the call. Good morning, caller. Where are you calling from? Good morning, caller.
Good morning, caller. You're on.
Hello?
Yes, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Very good program.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to get a little more clarification about the ILP rule in the whole scheme of things in the politics, because I know political parties come up and they aspire to win election and to form the government. I never see one try to aspire to form the opposition. So knowing the background
The COP did that in 2007, sir.
knowing what support that they have and what they don't have, I would really like it to be more clear to me what is the rule, because if it is only criticism, it will be moving further away from the partnership, and the partnership would not want to work with you all if the criticism is as such that it are not reconcilable. So I would like you to tell me, well, what is your rule, whether it's to bring down the government or to join up with the partnership, or whether it's to assist the government, or whether it's to be in opposition with the PNM. Thank you very much.
All right, caller. Thank you very much for your call.
Well, let's establish some basics. If I criticize a government, I mean, I think I'm being their friend.
Nigel, it's not about that, you know.
Let me go.
No, but it's not about that, you know.
Let me finish.
All right, you do it.
Because I want to. In 2012, I came on this program with Kenrick for about 6-7 months, and I did my rotation, and I was deemed as being hateful, attackful, and vindictive against the government. But I thought I was showing up their shortcomings. And the thing about it is, many people, including your friend there from Chaguanas, he says, he's been blacklisted. But if I come to you and I say, look, so-and-so is doing X, and it's not looking good, and it's in the public domain, and we know about it. Your job, whether you're prime minister or minister or senator, is to go back to the caucus, the parliamentary caucus or the party caucus or the women's arm or the youth arm or whatever it is, and say, this is in the public domain, whether it's in the media or in the rum shop, and we need to fix it.
And what are you doing about it?
And they don't. And fundamentally, for 4 years, this is the problem. If you go to them with a problem, you are the problem. You should keep quiet. You shouldn't. So if I know there's corruption here, or someone took money there, or if my cousin went down to the licensing office and he can't pass the driving license exam without passing money, and I carry that to the Minister of Works and Transport, the problem is me. The problem is not the person taking the bribe to get his driver's license.
Nigel, I don't know how people view this because of the fact that this is a radio program that is sponsored by the ILP and the Sunshine newspaper. And if we just come here and tell people, vote for green, vote for green, vote for green. Don't vote for yellow, don't vote for red. From the very first program, when I came, before you joined me on this program, when I did a program with Kenrick, I said that what we are trying to do is we are trying to have a dialogue with people. And if you are trying to build a country, if you are trying to build a party, if you are trying to build a government, we need to first determine what do we want for our country, what we want the place to look like. What do we want our government to look like? What do we want our government to do? Because if you're just hiring a government to build box drain and pave road, at the end of the day, you may or may not have good drain and road, you know, but your country not going to go anywhere.
But so,
if that is how you define, if that is how people define development, then something is clearly wrong with our objectives. But you see, Nigel, as a country, we are all moving together, whether we agree or we disagree with one another's views. We are all inside the bus, and we're going wherever the driver is taking us. Whether we want to go there or we don't want to go there, that is where we're going to end up. And we have to decide from now, all of us as citizens, what we're going to accept and what we're not going to accept. And the whole discussion we've been trying to have this morning really hinges around whether or not there is an issue at immigration division and whether or not to allow politics to intervene in that or to interfere with that. Is it a fact that people are working in enclosures where they're inhaling the droppings of pigeons? Is that real or is it not real? Are people getting sick? Watson Duke is claiming 2,500 people out of 5,000 people who work there are coming forward with serious health complaints. And a caller want to ask me, whether we want to join with this one and join with that one and be in the inside or be out in the cold?
Well, I think your policy then, to answer the caller, is that the ILP's agenda is to fix the problem.
We are here to talk to people, talk with people, those who wish to call in. We welcome your calls.
No, but the approach...
Right? But it is about having a discussion. What kind of country we want?
The current position of the government is to say Watson Duke is the bad boy. It's not a real issue. And basically, we're going to get a court injunction to send everyone back to work. I'd want someone to tell me that there is a problem or there isn't a problem. And if there's 25,000 people who are sick out of 5,000, more than likely we could get those 2,500 people to step forward and give us their ailments and give us sick letters, sick notes and doctor's reports.
The country, I don't know if people realize it, you know. This country is on the brink of shutdown, you know. Well, have people awoken to that reality? How many UNC, let me ask the UNC members out there, the UNC supporters, how many of you all have business interests abroad? How many of you all are in the import-export business? How many of you all are bringing vehicles from Japan and so on to sell in Trinidad? How many of you all are bringing in food stuff and other goods and what have you to sell in Trinidad? How many of you? How many of you have US money right now to conduct your business?
Well,
where we had a caller earlier in the previous hour talking about the shortage of US and the fact that the prices are fluctuating more than it should, and it's putting inflationary pressures, which you and I and all them UNC people who supporting this,
and
Nigel, and ILP and PNM, all of we, right, have to pay for in the grocery. How many of these UNC supporters, right, out there, passport about to expire if it expires yet? All you figure out if you want to go anywhere for August vacation, have you all figured out how you're going to get there? How are you going to get there? The Prime Minister jumped on a plane with his grandson, went down to Brazil to watch Brazil play in a World Cup final. Because she can do that. She has the luxury of being able to do that. A government minister will pick up the phone and call his government minister colleague and say, hey, here now, my wife and children passport need to renew. You could help me out? And they will say, well, okay, we send in somebody. Don't come to us. We'll send somebody to you. And we will collect the paperwork and we will process it. We'll drop the passport by your house. So them don't have a problem. It's you, the citizen. Whatever is the color jersey that you wear, it's you, the citizen, who have to face the reality every day on the outside. You could be a public servant and support any political party you want. But you know something? When you inhale that pigeon dropping dust, it's going to kill you without regard for who you supported. And it is you to catch when you need to go to the hospital or the medical services or what have you, wherever you're going to go for it. If you're going to pay for it private, it's you have to foot the bill. The government is coming to foot the bill for you. Mrs. Bissessa is not going to come and foot the bill for you. She might do it for Watty, but she's not going to do it for you. When you get sick and you go to the hospital and they don't have the medication to treat you, or they don't have the ward to keep you in because they don't have a bed, or if they don't have doctors, or worse yet, if Watson Duke decide he going to shut down hospitals, is you have to deal with it. So this whole thing, Nigel, and ladies and gentlemen, this whole thing right now where we're not in the heat of an election, now is the time to talk about what's right and what's wrong, what's the vision we want for the next 5 years after 2015. Do we want to continue where everybody in the country is a grass cutter?
Well,
is that what we want to have?
That's the direction we're going in.
Is that what we want to have? If we want to have that as a nation, well then fine. But let us come out and say that that's what we want. Do we want all our young kids going into the school system, going into the university, coming out with a degree and cannot get a job nowhere?
But there's 13,000 available in the public service.
Do we want from 2015, Nigel, to 2020? Do we want to have periods again when you can't get a passport? Is that what we want as a nation?
Do we want the passport people to work in substandard conditions?
That's if we don't kill them out before.
Well, that's if you don't kill them out before. But I mean, you can't work under those conditions. So it's 8:42. Let's take a break.
The sunshine, always on my mind. Give me your sunshine newspapers. It's not reporting like any other. They're giving me the facts, information to the max. I'm getting my news from all around, even worldwide, and what's going on in town. This weekly is hard to beat because the sunshine pushing some heat. Give me your sunshine, it's always on my mind.
Get the facts, get the sunshine.
Lights Above All, located at number 282 Eastern Main Road, El Dorado, opposite KFC. Our number one sellers are the lights. We also have indoor and outdoor moldings, crystal chandeliers, pendants, as well as a wide variety of fountains and ceiling fans. Give us a call at 662-6927 or 706-1828 or pay us a visit at number 282 Eastern Main Road, El Dorado, opposite KFC. Lights Above All.
Hey Mukesh, I'm so thirsty, boy. What you have there for me to drink?
Sammy, try this. This will definitely quench your thirst, but it's not free, and it's not tasting like a standpipe water you're accustomed drinking.
But Mukesh, this water tasting very, very good. How it tasting so different? What kind of water is this?
Sammy always drinking cheap things, and you know cheap thing ain't good. What you're drinking is Blue Mountain purified drinking water.
Mukesh, you're right. From now on, I'm going to buy Blue Mountain purified drinking water. And you know what? I'm going to tell all my fans to drink this too.
Blue Mountain Water, purified drinking water, the great tasting water. Try it for yourself. Available at all leading supermarkets.
The sunshine, always on my mind. Give me your sunshine newspapers. It's not reporting like any other.
The Sunshine Weekly, keeping you in touch locally, regionally, and internationally. Committed to its readership and clientele. The Sunshine, a most timely intervention in these trying times of our nation. Get the facts, get the Sunshine newspaper.
This weekly is hard to beat because the sunshine pushing some heat. Give me your sunshine, it's always on my mind.
Get the facts, get the Sunshine.
Tune in every Wednesday from 7 to 9 a.m. for ILP Speaks National Consultation.
This is the ILP Speaks National Consultation. My name is Nigel Mahabir and I'm here with Sunil Ramjit Singh, and we are going to discuss some of the issues of the day. You can call in at 489-1067, 489-1067, and give your contribution on what kind of society you would like to have. What's wrong in the society, and who and what should be fixing it. As I said earlier, if you got your learner's permit and you're going in to take a driver's license test, call us in and let us know how many lessons you have to take where, so you could pass your exam. You know?
Well, Nigel, I was making the point before we went to the break in response to that caller who called, right? Asking the question today of a politician, whether are they joining up, or you're joining up, or you're not joining up, or what have you, it is a premature question. It is a premature question. And before anyone runs to their political leader or member of parliament or activist or what have you, and start to talk about join up and join up, you need to decide what you want out of your government. You have to determine that. And when you determine that now, then you will determine whether or not your interests are going to be best served by some kind of coalition or by people deciding not to get together in a coalition. But it's not a simple question of join up or don't join up. If we don't evolve the discussion beyond that, we are not going to like what we will get in 2015 to 2020. The simple reason being that if we take an honest and objective look at what has happened over the last 4 years, it's not a pretty picture. It's not a pretty picture of how the administration we all voted for, all us again the government in May 2010, has turned into a disappointment.
All right. Well, let's go back to January of 2010 and take us through till April. In January 2010, Kamala Prasad became leader of the UNC, and this brought about an idea of that there may be a change in the operations of the UNC, how it ran before.
It goes before that, you know.
Yeah, but it also deals with certain. Well, this is the crux.
From 2007, even before 2007, this country had made up its mind that they wanted to get rid of Patrick Manning from the chair of the Prime Minister. The problem was that the opposition parties were fragmented.
Right.
But they were fragmented. And why were they fragmented? They were fragmented because the UNC, mainly the UNC, has broken up over disagreements as which Basil Pandey was at the center.
Right.
So they remained fragmented. They could not come together in 2007. They played games with one another.
Right.
And then you went into that, and the PNM came in again. And there was although the PNM had won, the PNM continued to be an unpopular government. And then fast forward now to the point that you're making, come 2010. What happened?
Now, between that time, between January of 2010 and the calling of the election in April, there became a coalition of the, let's just call them anti-PNM parties. Whether you believe the MSJ was a functional party or the NJAC or what you thought of the COP, everybody came together. The MND was dissolved and Garvin Nicholas came back in. So everybody got back on board. Now, a number of those individuals, whether you're talking about the people on the top levels of the COP or the top levels of the MSJ or whatever else parties that were involved, the base has seen the voting base of that third swing vote, dynamic there is very, very unhappy. The collective vote in the last COP election is less than what Prakash Ramadar got 3 years ago. He got 3,000 votes. Arnold Roberts got 1,000, Vernon Deliver got 800 or so, and Nelly Dial got 45. If you add up the total number of votes in the last COP election, it is less than 3,000. It's less than what Prakash Ramadar got 3 years ago. That base has been lost to them, basically because they are unhappy with what's going on in the country. And they are probably unhappy, a number of reasons, and we won't go into all of this thing of cabal and which ministry and this, that, and the other. The question now comes, what exactly is the arrangement coming into, because we're less than 12 months away. Do you want to get back into an arrangement?
Nigel, let's review. You're right. Let's review.
You want to go back into the arrangement with those same
Let's
people?
take a second and review. You're on the board. Let's take a second and review from 2010, that period between January and May, when Faizabad Accord and all of these things were signed.
Well,
right? Because what was signed was an agreement among the participating parties that what we know is we're working together.
Right.
What are the nuts and bolts and how this thing gonna work? We're gonna work out that as we go along. Right? There was a committee that was set up to work out those details. And 4 years later, you have not worked it out. The country has gone to hell. The government is extremely unpopular. They are showing, I'm not inventing this. The corruption is out there. Everybody's seen it. It's in the papers every day. I don't even come here and talk about government corruption so anymore. I could have come here and talk about life sport, But why am I coming to talk about what people already know? That they can pick up a newspaper and read the same thing. Especially when every other radio talk show host, no offense to Kendrick, every other radio talk show host who has a morning show and evening show already discuss it and put the facts out there for those who did not get a chance to read it in the papers. Why do I come to do that? I don't come to do that. My question is, you already know the facts. Where are we going to go from here? Where are we going to go from here? And my point is this. My point is, do we have a serious problem with the infrastructure? Do we have a serious problem with the infrastructure in these buildings? Is there a health hazard to the people? If there's a health hazard to the people, are we going to leave them out in the cold, or are we going to stand up with them on the basis that they have a health risk facing them? Because today's immigration, last month it was finance and Board of Inland Revenue, and tomorrow it may be. Do you remember Nigel? Some time ago, Mount Hope Hospital, a couple of years back, where there was a mystery virus loose in Mount Hope killing babies.
In the maternity ward, yes.
In the maternity ward, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that very well. And I remember the head of the maternity ward, last name was Manning.
The sister?
It's Patrick Manning.
Petronella Manning Ali,
yes.
Right? But Nigel, the thing is, do you want a system, a society where if you get bugs on the side of the road, ambulance takes 2 hours to come for you when you have 15 minutes which you're going for your life?
No, of course.
Or when a bandit comes into your home, do you want a society with bandits?
Well,
because here what's going on? You see, the people who feel, Nigel, the people who feel that crime is a East-West corridor problem,
well, that
right? They are so wrong. They are so wrong when those persons who feel that is them people business and then are we people business, and as long as we say here what's going on, do you think the average bandit is going to go targeting houses and so on businesses that don't have no money? Or are they going to go where they think they can see profit? So therefore, if you accept the second situation to be true, what you have to do is you have to address the problems wherever they are coming from, because I am not even saying that there's a East-West corridor problem. I am saying that throughout the length and breadth of this country, you will find that there are persons who are so inclined. And you will find social conditions and other conditions that are contributing to the propagation of that. It's just, something, on one set of radio stations, people feel it's one set of people. And on the other set of radio stations, people feel it's the other set of people. And that is how they're going, That's how they're going.
But nobody's fixing the problem. Nobody's saying
hours upon hours of radio talk time. And at the end of the day, nobody says, listen, we are 1 inch closer to the problem, solving the problem. Because everybody, Nigel, everybody is just, what color you're wearing? What color you wearing? What color you wearing? Well, they don't realize that under the PNM, people was dropping down from balloons all in the city, and it's happening today still. And if we don't do something about it, it's going to happen in the next 5 years too.
And it's been happening with all the expenditure, as you said, of life sport fund into certain areas. And I mean, it hasn't seemed to quell the issue at all. So I mean, they're throwing money at the problem, and this fundamentally what comes down to it. There's money being thrown at the system, and it's not being fixed. Whereas the problem of 13,000 vacancies in the public service and 5,000 contracts, It's 4 years into this administration. Where is the solution? That in the last 4 years, you could have given, let's see, 13,000 vacancies. You could have given 10 people a job every day for 4 years, and you would have solved the problem. You would have gotten about 12,000 jobs in there. And you could have given a contract out every day, and you would have probably filled the contracts out, contracted workers. But she's saying the public, Carolyn Civil Relations, public relations, she says there's vacancies. Well, let's advertise some of the vacancies. And you can take out their classified ads if you want and do it cheap. Apply for this job and that job at so-and-so thing. GHRS must have hundreds of resumes sitting down in filing cabinets somewhere.
I'm going to have to pull back this Hansard, and to be fair to Ms. Beecham, pull back this Hansard and see if she explained why. Because there is supposed to be a human resource audit taking place within the public service, and some of these positions have to be phased out, and some new positions have to be created and what have you and what have you. But it's just sitting there going nowhere. And then you have to ask yourself, is the caller, the lady who called, saying that this whole thing that's going on right now, where Watson Duke is going around looking to shut down buildings, whether there's any truth? The thing is, I am asking, if you are having some kind of dialogue and you're coming to some kind of temporary short-term agreement between Gary Griffith, who's minister, and Watson Duke, who's the PSA president, to get the things rolling again. How does that change the issues that need to be addressed? Is the breeze going to stop blowing so that the things that are in the air will stop affecting the people? Or are you going to ask people to stop breathing?
Well, can we go take a step further and say, currently, I'd say most partners with the UNC do not want to go back into the administration with them. Excluding, of course, Mr. Prakash Ramada. I mean, most of the partners, the MSJ has pulled out. The NJAC is relatively silent. I mean, do you really want to go back in with the same administration? Because putting back the PP will just simply endorse everything that's happened over the last 4 years. And they'll see that as permission to go forward and continue on with the agenda that they have.
So again, Nigel, the point to answer some of the callers who called earlier, the point of what is the ILP's view on this thing. The ILP's view is that the service is supposed to run efficiently. It's supposed to run efficiently. However, at the same time, workers deserve reasonably comfortable and safe working environment and terms and conditions. That's our position. And I make the point that a government, especially where you know that this shutdown is coming, however you want to phrase it, you want to play with words, whether it's a strike or it's not a strike, or a demonstration, not a demonstration, what you know that the service was going to be impacted. What did you put in place to make sure that people would have been able to access their services? What did you put in place? You put nothing in place.
So do you think
you know what's taking place with the offices at BIR and VAT and so on. What did you put in place? Do you remember, Nigel, when this government now came into power, Mr. Warner was the Minister of Works and Infrastructure, was Works and Transport.
Right.
Maxi taxi drivers were going to go on protest action. Right? What did Mr. Warner do? Mr. Warner worked with PTSC, which was under his control at the time. He worked with the people at PTSC to ensure that there were 100 extra buses put onto the routes so that people would have been able to get to and from work and wherever else they had to go. So therefore, a government knowing, and 2 months into this nonsense, 2 months into this thing, what have you put in place so that even if the action is lifted as we speak, what is going to guarantee people? Because there was a time, listen, Nigel, people recall there was a time when it was so difficult to get an appointment, to get an early appointment right? That people were doing all kinds of things to get early appointments. People were selling appointments, you know. People were selling appointments. When you look at the nonsense that's going on at the licensing office, which, Nigel, is more than a year and something I need to go to the licensing office to do some business, you know. But I am not prepared to leave home and go there to waste a day. I have been through that already. Fortunately enough for me that my business that I have to is something I can wait. But what about other people? What about the other people who are not so fortunate that they can postpone their business?
So do you think when they passed the OSHA Act that it was only meant for construction workers with hard hats and steel boots and didn't affect office workers?
I think that subsequent consecutive governments have really just been on a frolic of their own and not paying attention to the things that need to be attended to. And I make the point as we get ready to close, Nigel, that the Prime Minister's timing for what may be a well-deserved vacation, the timing could not be more wrong. You don't leave and go on a holiday when the roof is collapsing and the pipes are bursting and flooding out the entire building. That is not the time to go on a vacation, even if you planned it before. Even if you planned it before, that is not the time. You know how many people are going to have to postpone their own vacations right now? You know why? Because they can't get a passport.
And with that, I'm afraid we have to close off the show. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been the ILP consultation. And we have Bees Hi-Fi in the house after the top of the hour.
97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Radio is owned and operated by Anand and Ingrid Ramprasad Singh, directors of Upward Trend Entertainment Limited.